Okay.
Welcome to Veterans in the Know, a show about navigating COVID-19 and the VA healthcare system, and we're going to share a couple resources. I'm your co-host, Eva Shockey, a combat veteran of the Air Force, as well as the training coordinator at SC Thrive. With me, I have my co-host, Lance Newman. Hi, Lance.
Hey, Eva. Hope all is well with you, and thank everyone for coming in to receive some shared information that SC Thrive has. My name is Lance Newman. I'm a 22-year combat Marine, retired, and SC Thrive and I wanted to share with you a lot of good information and resources. We know that our emergency service workers out there, whether it be a nurse, or EMS tech, um, some of our veterans that's in that community that's working, you guys are putting your life on the line. And we at SC Thrive wanted to say thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for putting yourselves first in order to help those who are in need. So with that said, as you all know, SC Thrive is definitely one of the leaders here in South Carolina in regards to stability and providing innovative and efficient access to a quality of life. This includes our veterans in the community. This also includes our emergency service workers, those who are serving statewide. And they do this by providing innovative and efficient access to quality of life resources, as I stated. So that's important. That's an important part of that mission statement from SC Thrive. You probably can pick out a few words here that will definitely identify who you are and what you do in your respective places.
So, what should I do if I have symptoms?
Well, first of all, the first thing you should do is reach out to someone. On the slide here, we have numbers for you to contact. So the first number is 803-647-5829. And the second one is a toll-free number, 888-651-2683. Now, if you feel like you have the symptoms, it is very important that you reach out to the VA and contact your provider, or you can contact them through secured messaging through My Healthy Vet. And later on, we'll show you how to tap into My Healthy Vet and e-benefits. But it's important that if you have the symptoms, that you reach out to share your information with the VA so they can give you next steps. So that's very important. And you can reach Dorn VA for those in the area of Dorn Hospital at 803-776-4000. 803-776-4000. Now, directly, if you hit 3, you can leave a message that will get to your primary care provider. But if you press 4, they'll let you talk to a nurse right away. And it's my understanding that they extended hours, so you should be able to get someone on the line to talk to them. So that's important that you will reach out to them.
I understand that they have extended hours, but when I called, I couldn't get through. So what should I do next?
If you can't get through, the next best thing is to contact them through the automated service through My Healthy Vet. For those who have logons, but those who don't have logons, as I stated before, that is going to be the best way through secure messaging to reach out to them. And then also, I don't fail to mention that for those who are in the Charleston area, the Johnson VA hospital number is 843-577-5011. And that's very important that you would reach out to those folks first if you feel like you have the symptoms. So that is to answer that question.
Thank you. So if I have to go to the VA, will I be screened? And what will the screening questions be?
Yes, you will be screened, and no matter where you go nowadays, you're going to be screened. But just to give you the screening questions that the VA presently will be asking is that, do you have a fever? Do you have a cough? Do you have a shortness of breath or difficulty breathing? Do you have chills, repeated shakes with the chills? Are your muscles sore? Um, do you have headaches? Do you have a sore throat? Do you have a loss of taste or smell? Along with those questions, the VA is also now asking mental health questions along with those questions. Are you feeling depressed? Are you feeling suicidal? So those are added to the litany of questions that you're going to have. They're also asking if you have left the country within the last 14 days. Those are the type of questions that they want to find out.
If I go to the VA to go through the screening process, what is the entrance that I need to use?
Okay, so two things. Let's talk Dorn VA first of all. Dorn VA, first of all, you don't have to worry about the parking. Dorn VA put out a message that the parking that many of us know that visit the Dorn VA, the valet parking is accessible. Anybody can park there. You're going to be entering building 5, and that's going to be near the MRI entrance. So when you enter that building, when you get there, they have an elaborate setup. You're going to be greeted by some nurse and VA personnel. They're going to ask you the questions that we just discussed. And then if you have all those symptoms that we talked about, they even have tent areas that they separate you from everyone else and go through further testing. When you enter that building, you're going to get those questions. You're going to ask to be washed down. When you show up at the VA is asking you to show up with a mask and gloves, And then you'll be asked to wash your hands. And then your temperature is going to be taken. They're going to ask where you're going to. And then they'll allow you to go inside the VA. They're only allowing people that doctors are saying come to the facility, like a change of medication, folks who need emergency services, of course, and you got your x-rays or other things that you would have to have that they will allow you to come to the actual facility. Now, at Johnson, they have a different entrance at Johnson. They want you to enter, what area is that? The west entrance at Johnson. Now, on the website, it had that you can enter the front door of Johnson. Well, my understanding as of this morning is that you could not use that front door anymore. They have everyone going through the west entrance by emergency in the Charleston area. So that's how you enter. You're going to get the same questions that you have there. But also, please note that in Charleston, they are partnered with MUSC. At MUSC, next door to the VA hospital there, they have a drive-up testing site where if you had all the symptoms and the VA gives you the thumbs up, you go over there and go through the drive-through test area. So that's pretty good. It makes things quicker. So I'm sure they're probably doing testing there, but they mentioned in their information they put out to veterans that MUSC drive-through test sites are available next door to the VA.
Awesome. I know before, like when I get my appointment, I would have to allot for traffic and parking and finally checking in through the kiosk. Should I leave more time available for the screening process, or is it a swift process?
Well, as we know as military veterans, you always get there early. But in emergency services, emergency situations, that is, if you called the VA and told them that you have the symptoms and that you're on your way in, I wouldn't worry about a timetable. You're not going to get an appointment. They're going to probably tell you to come in if you are experiencing any of the symptoms that we discussed already. So when you go there, it looks like a ghost town right now. There's plenty of parking anywhere, but you want to advise them before you go there, let them know that you're coming. But if it's an emergency situation or you're in the area, please go and stop by. You don't have to worry about leaving at a certain time, and you definitely don't have to worry about parking at this point. I know that's normally an issue at both locations, but as of right now, you can park and go get the assistance that you need. Now, with that said, if you have a loved one that's going to escort you and take you to the VA, they're asking that they stay in the car and let the veteran out to get whatever aid that he or she needs. And they're asking you to wait in the car. But at the Dorn VA, they also mentioned the picnic table area they got set up that's separated that you can wait at also. So no, you don't have to leave by a certain time. You don't have to worry about the traffic or any other parking. You will be served, and there's plenty of places for you to park to get the help you need.
Okay. So I have another question. So my car just broke down, and let's say I do have the symptoms, like I want to get checked, but my car's not working. So what's a mode of transportation that I can take, being that I'm in Sumter, South Carolina?
Well, being that where you are, one of the things that we would like our veterans to do is to reach out to the County Veteran Service offices first, or some of your historical veteran organizations like your VFWs, your American Legions, and your DAVs. A lot of times those locations that I mentioned, they have transportation. I spoke with Todd Humphreys, the president of the County Veteran Service Officer here in South Carolina, and he stated that if you call, um, they're transporting for those who have vans to transport people. Now, mind you, if you have some of the symptoms, I honestly don't know what their procedures are regarding that if you don't have a ride. I assume they're going to ask you to probably call the EMS to have the EMS transport you, which is probably what needs to happen. But as far as family members can't take you. There are a lot of counties that have bus systems. I assume that they're still operating. Veterans normally can get, in some locations, veterans can get on the bus with their veterans ID card and travel to it. But they're going to probably take some precautions once you tell them that you think you might have the symptoms in regards to getting a ride there. But the historical locations normally have van transportations. We don't know how they're handling that. So that's going to be something I need to check into and find out if it's still available and make sure I get back with you all.
Thank you. I know you mentioned MUSC doing testing, but how can I be tested for COVID-19?
Well, all veterans will and can be tested. Now, we got to keep in mind, you got to have the symptoms. If you are ill with the symptoms that we keep discussing and you fall in that category, you will be tested. I talked about the comprehensive setup that they have at both locations where you're met with people who are in protective gear, and they will separate you and you will get the test. It's my understanding that the VA has that rapid test that can be done. I guess you can find out in 45 minutes if you're affected or not. But everyone will and can be tested in the veterans world. Everyone will and can be tested. If you have the symptoms and they deem that you should be tested, you will get tested. So everyone will be tested, bottom line.
Thank you. I kind of have another question.
Mm-hmm.
So you said I can be tested, but how much is that test actually going to cost me?
The tests are free, not only for veterans, but everyone else in the United States. We haven't heard of anyone being charged with it. I know that was a major concern, and our country's leaders have assured us all that it is free cost to be tested. So in our veterans community, don't worry about being charged to be tested. You just go get tested. If you have the symptoms and they say that you have the symptoms, especially after having some type of triage from them and they feel you should be tested, you will be tested and it's going to be no cost.
Okay, so let's just say that, I'm married, my husband was military, I'm military. We're now stuck in this house together. We don't have the symptoms, but we have to deal with each other. And sometimes he feels anxious and sometimes I feel anxious. What can we do?
Okay, so it's not only the veterans world is feeling anxious and having anxiety or depression or even suicidal thoughts. I believe that it's something that's plaguing our world, no matter who you are. But in regards to our veterans, it's important to stay connected. It's important to know what's out there in regards to helps by way of phone call, apps, and we'll talk more about that. But you must stay connected with family and friends and social media. I mean, staying connected can help with a lot of that anxiety. Um, so that's important. Getting out and exercising is also important. Getting out the house and with social distancing in mind, and stretching your legs and getting involved, maybe getting active around the house. A lot of those type of things can help with anxiety. The best thing is the talk groups. Getting with some of the talk groups that's out there, like Project Josiah, for instance. It's a peer-to-peer group. We've put together a pretty good system that we can meet our veterans online and have discussions and talk, just like we do in our peer-to-peer groups. Our peer-to-peer groups are non-clinical and they are non-agenda. However, we have facilitators who have been trained in mental health first aid, trained as facilitators, and talk therapy is good. Talk therapy helps. And don't forget you're reaching out to your primary care provider. If you're feeling those anxious thoughts and you need to talk to someone, they will guide you in the steps for telehealth and or a phone conversation with a provider in regards to you talking to a psychologist or a counselor. So those kind of things are important. But I can't stress the fact that staying busy, getting active, exercise programs. We have videos of all type of things that will help you deal with that anxiety.
I saw on Facebook about a veterans resource that was called the Big Red Barn. Is that actually true?
There is a resource out there called the Big Red Barn. The Big Red Barn, however, they have a talk group that was developed by Project Josiah, and Project Josiah actually is the ones that deals with the peer group. The Big Red Barn has question therapy. Naturally, with the social distancing, they are not operating in that way right now. So Project Josiah is the ones that handle the peer-to-peer and the groups that reach out, and the groups meet online and have talks. Our system has been checked because we know trust and safety is everything to veterans. And so we want to make sure that if a veteran comes on the Microsoft Team group meetings or Zoom, that they're going to be safe, and the information that they share is going to be safe. So that's important to us. So it's a lot of groups out there that help. Some of them aren't operating because of the social distancing thing. So we all are reverting to the system, if you will, like we're doing today. Normally we would meet and pass this great information on through SC Thrive's MVP information. So there are plenty of groups out there that's active. There are some groups out there that would like to help, and then there's some groups out there that don't have the capacity to help. So your peer groups that are out there, your apps that you can reach into are some of the good ones, and we'll talk about those in the next slide. Reaching out to someone is the most important way. You must stay connected. You must stay in touch with friends and family, whether it's phone or if it's social media. Try to follow a normal routine if that really means anything right now. That word normal is kind of thrown out the window. But what we want to do is just make sure that you're getting plenty of sleep and that you're getting some type of exercise. So those kind of things are very, very important. As far as anxiety, so myself and a few other veterans, we tried out a few of these links to see exactly, what they were like and how did we feel. Like the Tai Chi, for example, that Tai Chi exercise is really, really good. Now, if you let down your guards and as a military person and not fight against it, you'll be surprised at what those meditation apps can do for you, or those links on YouTube that can do for you. It's a way to do something different. I was sharing earlier about Nike partnering with the VA, and they're doing like some of the military type workouts that we all did when we were coming up through the service. And those things are actually strenuous. So they kind of take your mind off of a lot of things that you may be going through in your mind. So that's very, very important. Make sure that you keep any existing mental health appointments that you have. You reach out to your primary care provider, and you ask those questions when you're having those anxieties. They may want to, for those who are on medication, they may want to change the type of medication that you have. This is stressful for everyone. We must know that it's not only affecting our service members, whether they're emergency service workers or our military, this is affecting the average Joe at home. So the anxiety is something that we all are feeling in a lot of different ways. No one knows what's really happening. So we just want to make sure that we reach out to the VA. Contact My Healthy Vet through the system. Reach out by way of phone call for those who can do that, and find out what your next steps are. One of the biggest problems that we have as service members is that we just don't know. And that's one reason why SC Thrive has put this together. It's the small little bitty things that can make a big difference in your life just by someone talking to you on the same level that you are. The CDC and all these other places have a lot of information, but some of that information is kind of hard to swallow. You really don't know exactly what's going on. The best thing to do with the VA is good that they got people on the other end of the phone, on the other end of secure messaging that can give you some next steps.
Did you know that the VA has almost 40 different apps that you can download from Google Play or Google Store or Play Store?
Yeah, they have a lot of apps. Now we've played with a few of them. We've had some issues with some responding slow, but for the most part, the apps are really good. The problem is that line that I keep drawing. You have your younger service members, veterans who are pretty smart about how to get on and do social media and check out apps. But then you have some of our Vietnam, post-Vietnam guys, even some Desert Storm type folks. You have some of those folks that don't know how to really get into that. So the best thing to do is to spread the word about these apps and maybe help a service member that you know, or even, like I said, we mentioned Walmart example, had a veteran who didn't know some things, and I showed him one of the apps, and he had room on his phone, and it was simple on how to tap into it. So you'll be surprised how you can do that and help a vet out by maybe asking how he or she is doing with everything that's going on, and share some of these helps that we have. I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to get copies of these slides and copies of the resources that we have that you'll be able to share. So these apps that are out there in the Play Store, tap into them and use them. It's not Candy Crush, but it's another game that's out there that takes away anxiety. And it's a puzzle game that you actually play a game on your phone, and it takes away, and it has different ambient noises while you're playing. So there are plenty of apps that are out there. You just have to find the one that actually fits what you do that will make you feel better. And as far as you searching for these apps, you just want to get into whether you have a iOS system. I'm not real familiar with the Apple phone, but as far as Android, you just type in the search bar mental health apps, and you're going to get a ton of them. You have to search through and find the ones that you may be looking for. But when we first went into it, we had someone from the iOS system go into it, and someone from the Android system. In fact, I did the Android one, and I found tons of apps, and I tried to narrow it down military mental health, and it only pulled up a few things that they're partnered with. But these apps, you just simply go into your store if you have the ability to do that, and you type in the word and go to the search. And then you have to find the one that you're actually looking for. So going into the app and put them in the search bar.
Also, you can put into Play Store or Google app, VA apps store, and Play Store will bring up all the apps that the VA currently have available. And anyone can use most of the apps.
Yeah. That's so true.
Non-veterans, family members, veterans alike can use the majority of the apps. Now the apps, most of the apps you can download onto your phone, and you don't need your VA ID number. You just need to download it and start using it. You wouldn't, the veterans are allowed to download the VA appointments. So of course, only veterans can use the VA appointment app. However, Virtual Hope Box is an app that you can download. You don't need VA information to download it. So everyone in the community could have a Virtual Hope Box downloaded onto their phone.
That's true. Thanks, Eva. You're right. So true.
So I have PTSD, and everybody knows that that's one ailment that doesn't have a visible wound. So during COVID-19, we've already talked about the apps that you can download and staying connected with your family, but what's some other things could I do? Could I go to Facebook and look up, I believe it's called the Red Barn, the Big Red Barn?
Yes, the Big Red Barn is out there. So is Project Josiah Restoration Ministry, and Project Josiah deals directly with peer-to-peer. In fact, if you log on to Project Josiah, you'll be able to tap into the next peer session that we have. Project Josiah just recently went through a secured test to make sure that our veterans are safe inside of the system, inside of the web world, if you will. We have peer-to-peer groups that meet via Microsoft Teams. Our groups are meeting from, like I said, across South Carolina. We have some people falling in the gap who don't have internet service, or those who don't have the phone capability to do it. So we hate that part, but we are seeing an uptick in people joining us after they become members with Project Josiah. So there are plenty of helps out there. So PTSD, we're talking about trust. No matter who you are, male, female, who served, trust is paramount. So we want to make sure that the systems are trusted at everything that we do, dealing with your anxiety and depression, or just having a person who's been there, seen it, and done it, okay? So talk therapy is everything in our veterans world. So we even have to make sure that I mentioned this before, don't take in too much news, don't take in too much social media. Things get somewhat confusing. So those who are suffering from PTSD, or maybe have a disability surrounding PTSD, it is very important that you continue or get into talk therapy. Talk therapy helps. It's us helping us. It's non-clinical. It's non-agenda. We just get together and we talk about it. We may talk about what's going on in the world, or we may talk about somebody having a breakthrough with some of the PTSD issues that they're going through. So there are things that are out there that's like that. And we know that PTSD, with everything that's going on, there are certain things that go on with those who are suffering from PTSD related to what's happening in the world that would give them depression, that would give them anxiety, and they don't feel like there's an outlet. So you have to pick up the phone. We keep emphasizing reaching out to your primary care provider. I can't say that enough. Or using some of the apps that Eva and I been talking about. There are plenty of helps that's out there, but the trust model is the biggest thing. Veterans are very careful about who they trust and who they give their personal information to. So Project Josiah is very busy in making sure that work continues. It was rough in the beginning because our groups weren't meeting and trying to keep up with all our folks and us reaching out. But more and more as we do it, the more we have it. We have a toll-free number that you'll see at the end of the slides, where veterans can call no matter what time of the day and just simply talk to someone. So that's good. Now, the other thing is, we talked about exercise, we talked about getting out and working out and trying stay busy. We must make sure too that our service members or our veterans who consume alcohol, that you limit that you limit your, not limit, don't do substance abuse at all. But we know some people is going to have a drink here or there, but we don't want to advertise that or say you should be doing that, because we know that when you add all these outside things into your body, which causes your mind to do all these different things, we must be real careful in that. And if you feel like you do have that kind of problem, that's why we want you to reach out to some of these resources or contact the VA in regards to what you're feeling and what's happening in your life right now. But trust is everything. The call volume with the crisis line, it's my understanding that call volume has gone up. The toll-free number for Project Josiah, our call volume has gone up. And so now people are looking for someone to talk to. They're looking for answers a lot of the times, and most of the time it's about just simply talking it out.
So I know we talked about using the VA healthcare system, but if I have an emergency, whether it's COVID-19 or just a plain out, flat out emergency, can I use urgent care, my local hospital? Like, what should I really do?
So you have to be careful when you go to some of these urgent care locations. I got a few examples for you. But first, let me say this. These emergency care locations, they must have a partnership with the VA, all right? Meaning that pretty much the VA is going to pay that bill. We don't have a list because I've been looking for a list, and if I did have a list, I would definitely make sure it was part of these slides. But there are emergency services that's partnered with the VA, and there are many that's not, especially since we know that a lot of these emergency care locations, these 24-hour places, are built up in rural areas. Now, with that said, you must take care of yourself. If there's a emergency situation, then you go to where the help is, and you worry about bills and things like that later. You must take care of yourself first. But please know that it is a strong possibility that you may have a bill that you can't control, and then you're going to have to get with the VA after all the smoke clears to try to pay that bill for you because you were too far away from VA services. You didn't have transportation. So you got to be careful in that. But the bottom line is, if you have an emergency situation, you must take care of that. All right. I know that those locations are used for basically non-emergency type things with a cut finger and things like that. But you have to be careful, and you might want to ask that question or call them ahead of time. Are you partnered with the VA? And you need to find out from them if that's the case or not, because what's going to end up happening is that if you go there and you have a stuffy nose or you think you might have symptoms, we don't know if you're going to be charged right now. We know that our leaders in government saying that folks aren't supposed to be charged for anything surrounding COVID-19, but that's still unclear. I wish we had the answer for you. I've tried to find the answer over the last few days, and I still haven't been able to get the actual answer for you for that. But those emergency services, I mean, you want to use them for important things. I think we spoke of before about chest pain or severe fever or vomiting, bleeding that won't stop, those kind of things. Symptoms that need urgent care, within 24 to 48 hours, those things are that's what that place is used for. But as far as emergency rooms, when you're having chest pains and you don't know if you're having a heart attack or anxiety attack, you got to go get care. So you have to, call ahead, maybe have a loved one call ahead, but an emergency is an emergency. You go where the help is and you get that help.
This is just a short video of how to go about getting your DoD self-service log on. Once you get this log on, you can log in to eBenefits and My Healthy Vet and use secure messaging and look up your refills and maybe look up a future appointment. So We're going to let this play for you. Hopefully you get some good information.
Is eBenefits web portal. The following video will walk you through the step-by-step process for obtaining a DoD self-service logon, also known as a DS logon, which allows you to get free premium eBenefits access. A DS logon is a secure identity, username and password that is used by various DoD and VA websites, including eBenefits. If you are already registered in the Defense Enrollment Eligibility Reporting System, known as DEERS, you are eligible for a DS logon. Once you have a DS logon, it is your permanent logon ID in providing identity authentication. How can you obtain a DS logon? By registering for an eBenefits account. When registering for an account, you will be asked a series of questions to assist you in obtaining a DS logon Level 2 eBenefits premium account, and to verify your identity. With a premium account, you can view personal data about yourself in VA and DoD systems, apply for benefits online, check the status of your claims, update your address records, and more. Let's get started by clicking on Register in the upper right-hand corner. This will guide you to the DS Logon registration wizard. Now you must select one of the 4 methods of registration. Before we continue, let's explain each option. The first option requires you to register with your Common Access Card or CAC. This applies if you're a service member, active guard or reserve, or a DoD civilian employee, or DoD contractor with a CAC. If you have a CAC, you must use it to register. This will automatically provide you with a Level 2 DS logon and premium eBenefits access. The second option applies to a retiree and dependents with an active DoD ID card and email address on file in DEERS. Note, dependents must be 18 years or older. The third option requires a MyPay account. This may be used by retirees, but you will have to wait for an activation code to be mailed to you in order to obtain Level 2 premium access. To receive immediate access to eBenefits, retirees can choose to verify their identity through the step-by-step remote proofing process. If the first 3 options do not apply to you, or you are a retiree and don't want to wait for a mailed activation code, select the 4th option, which verifies your identity remotely using DEERS. To continue the registration process, fill in your personal information to locate your record in DEERS. Your first and last name are required, along with your social security number and date of birth. Your name must be an exact match to the name stored in DEERS. Do not use abbreviated names or nicknames. Note, if you are enrolled in DEERS but your name has changed since you served, please contact the DMDC Support Office, DSO, at 1-800-538-9552 for assistance to change your name in DEERS. If you are not found in DEERS, you will be directed to submit a request to the Inquiry Routing Information System, also known as IRIS. This will allow you to contact VA to have your identity validated and added to DEERS. To submit an inquiry to IRIS, go to iris.custhealth.com/app/ask. Scroll down to the topic field and select Veteran Not in DEERS, Add. Under the subtopic field, select Can't Register, Not in DEERS message. Complete the rest of the contact information and submit. Your submission will then allow you to be added to DEERS, normally within 72 hours, so that you can complete registration. A VA representative will contact you within 2 to 3 business days once processed. You may also call the VA at 800-827-1000, option 7 for assistance. If you're in DEERS, the next step will ask you to create a password. Be sure to follow the on-screen security tips. Once you have created, written down, and confirmed your password, click Continue. You will then be asked to select and answer 5 challenge questions from the options provided. Then, click Continue. The next step is to select an image and create a short phrase. These will eventually display on your personal profile page. Once complete, click Continue. Once the registration is completed, you will be assigned a username. Be sure to write down your username as displayed on the screen. To protect your eBenefits account, we recommend that you do not keep a record of your username and password together. The next step is to upgrade your account for premium access. Click Begin to get started. Please note that if your address is not in DEERS, you will be asked to provide this information before upgrading your account. You will be asked 4 remote proofing questions to verify your identity. You have 4 minutes to select the correct answers and click Submit. If one question is answered incorrectly, an extra question will be asked. It is important to note that if you cannot answer the questions after 2 attempts, you will not be able to continue and will have to wait 72 hours before you can attempt to upgrade your account online again. If you receive VA funds via direct deposit, you can participate in remote telephone proofing by calling 1-800-827-1000 and selecting option 7. If you are still unable to upgrade online, you can visit your VA regional office to provide proof of your identity in person. Note, until your upgrade is complete, you will only have basic access. After successful completion, you will receive this confirmation page. You may now go back to the eBenefits homepage and log in. If you need further assistance regarding registration on eBenefits, contact 1-800-827-1000, option 7.
Thank you for watching.
Welcome to VA and DoD's eBenefits.
So there you have it. That's the eBenefits, the way to get your DS login and what you'll have access to. Remember, we want you to know that every 60 days, your password will have to be changed and you will have to go in and change it.
Yeah. Also, logging into eBenefits, it's like major. I mean, the access is fast. And for example, let me give you this example. For some of the clients that you may have that is receiving SSI, SSDI, or whatever, and whatever documents that awarded them that SSI or SSDI, what we found, especially for SE Thrive, we kind of messed around with this a few years ago. Those same documents that someone was awarded state-wise can help someone with their VA claim. So just keep that in mind. There's a place where you can upload that stuff. You can print out your certificates, any eligibility, DD-214s, your housing documents based off of you wanting to use your VA. These are all printed out with wet signatures, if you will. There's actually a signature at the page. It tells you all of your disability awards that you have. So being a part of eBenefits is really good. And if you follow the prompts and get on there, it will make life a little easier, especially when it comes down to documents. So thank you for that, Eva.
So here's the eBenefits site tour.
Once you log in. Let's review some of the most important features. On our homepage, you can check out the latest news about eBenefits features. Let's face it, keeping track of benefits information can be complicated. Come to Browse Benefits Links to see the big list of all the benefits to which you might be entitled. When you are ready to apply for these benefits, log into your account, then go to Apply for Benefits to begin your application. This is where popular items like VONAP and the VA Home Loan Certificate of Eligibility can be found. Checking status is one of the key self-service features on eBenefits. You'll find it on our main navigation. From this page, you can check your compensation and pension claim status, payment history, appeal status, and more. With a premium account, veterans and service members can access their documents. For example, you can find your DD-214, Civil Service Preference Letter, and other documents from your official military personnel file. You can also request benefits information from your state's Veterans Affairs Office. Once you log in, you will have access to your personal dashboard. This is where you can manage your eBenefits profile as well as your contact and direct deposit information. The dashboard is a quick way to get your self-service features. With a premium account, you'll have access to your claim status, appeals information, insurance accounts, and many other features. The Message Center contains links to recent messages sent to you by eBenefits or other VA or DoD service groups. You may want to check that no one else is using your account. Go to Account Activity to see a record of login dates and pages that have been viewed. On Favorite Benefit links, you can select and save favorite links within eBenefits and even save links to sites outside of eBenefits. Need to jump back to a self-service feature you were using earlier in your current session? Recently Viewed will help you get there. Our redesign is based on input from veterans and service members, and we'd like to hear from you. Please send us feedback through our online surveys or just send us a note. Thanks for checking out the new eBenefits.
So I know they said that eBenefits uses veterans input. So this is the newest and greatest screenshot of what eBenefits currently looks like.
Yeah, it's a great system. I use it often. I'm a premier user because I use it a lot, and it's kind of simple. If some of you out there who have clients who are veterans that need to log on, you can help them log on. Now they're going to have to set up their passwords and stuff and keep those things themselves personally, but this is a big plus to help someone get logged on to eBenefits and My Healthy Vet. Both of those are extremely important, and it seems to work a lot faster than sometimes even a phone call or getting someone to call you back.
And I have a friend who she sells homes, and she told me that sometimes if a person is getting a VA loan, they need the documents off of eBenefits. So this is a wonderful tool to get those documents off of eBenefits, printed out, and taken to your realtor.
Yeah,
You can
the
get your
COE,
VA verification letters,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the documents you need for your VA home loan.
Yeah, that's called the COE, the Certificate of Eligibility. That shows a record that you had a good service. Now, mind you, if you have a discharge that's unfavorable, your COE will not be in that system. In fact, if you have anything like a bad conduct discharge or a few other types of discharge that's not favorable that cause you to have a higher reenlistment code number, 3 or higher, those people aren't eligible for a COE, a certificate of eligibility, or even some of the other documents. So you must try to help vet them out. And if they don't see those documents, the best thing they need to do is call that 1-800 number that's attached to the website to get the help that they need. That's that 1-800-827-1000. Be prepared to wait a while because they take calls from all over the country. Now they try to break it up in regions, and we have a call center in Columbia. All of them are working from home right now, but someone will eventually get the call and give you some guidance on your next steps.
And if you notice in the section under apply, that's normally the outage information. So if there's a featured outage or they're updating the system or something changed, there will be an alert there to let you know what's going on with eBenefits.
Right. Very good.
And also, if you are a veteran and you have not went to the VA and you would like to apply for VA healthcare, you can go on va.gov, click on healthcare, and it will take you directly to this page, and you can click on the green button and you can apply for healthcare benefits right on va.gov.
Right. And along with that, once you get inside of that application, you can also apply for a Veterans ID card. This Veterans ID card will be a card that is given by the VA, showing that you had good service. And so right now, just to be clear, that particular ID can be used to get on base now as a veteran. There's still some going back and forth with that. So you might want to just stay close to the news on exactly which ID works to get on base. And so that's going to be important. But yeah, this here is great. And if everything was open, you can also go to the Welcome Center at either Johnson VA or Dorn VA to get the same thing done. But this is fast, quick, and easy.
And here are some veteran services resources that we talked about earlier, but we're just trying to make it more visible. So we talked about it, and now we're putting the information back on the screen. So if you want to take pictures with your phone, take a screenshot with your computer, write it down. We're going to leave this up for a couple minutes.
So all these resources that you have here, it's a lot of information out there. It is. So you got to really try to find out what's going to help you, what's going to help the people that you're serving. So, don't be intimidated by all the services that are out there. Some years ago, SC Thrive, and what we did was we went out and we actually went to knock on the doors of over 100 and something locations to find out who was serving veterans based off of the internet. And we found out something that was, somewhat sad. Out of maybe, I think it was 120 something locations we visited, only 24 to 25 locations actually serve veterans. So you have to make sure you're careful. And the places that you research, you may have some place right around the corner from where you are to say that they serve veterans, but they actually don't because they don't have the funding, but they kept the name there and they're still on the internet as serving veterans. So you have to vet these places in order for you to get some of the helps that you have. So the best thing to do is call. You call first, you can't go wrong with that. Call these folks and find out if they're serving veterans, if they're doing exactly what they say their website does. That's the best way to find out exactly. So that way, when you pass on the information to one of your veterans, they're going to know ahead of time that that place operates and does what it says it does.
And if you come across or have contact with a homeless veteran, you want to have them to get in touch with a VA service rep. You can do that by either dialing 1-877-3838, or you can call the Dorn VA or Johnson VA Medical Center number as well.
Correct.
And if you're a caregiver, there is a caregiver support line that you can call, which is at the bottom of the screen. It's 1-855-260-3274.
So
that's for veteran caregivers.
Yeah, the caregivers, thanks for talking about that. Let me expound on that. The caregivers for our veterans, that's important. You got some people that's caregivers on paper, meaning that they're registered with the VA to either speak for their loved one or speak for a family member. And then you got those caregivers that's not on paper, that takes that one veteran in the neighborhood or family member to and from appointments. And so you can get a lot of assistance by calling that and finding out finding out more on how you can help a veteran, especially those who are not able to take care of themselves. So you can get a lot of good information from that caregiver support line.
And here at SC Thrive, we want to highlight our sponsors, because without our sponsors, we couldn't make this possible.
Sponsors are everything. This is how SC Thrive makes it happen. So that's awesome that we have those partners. It's awesome that you guys are here to do the things that you do to help those who have served.
Again, we are SC Thrive, and our contact number is 800-726-8774. You can reach out to us at that call number, scthrive.org, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We look forward to seeing you and thank you for attending.
Thank you. And thank you for what you do for those who have served.
Do we have any other questions, comments? No problem, Alex. It was my pleasure to give you the information.
Thanks, Alex, for joining. Appreciate it.
Well, you all stay safe, keep in contact with your loved ones, and we'll see you later.